Association welcomes everyone who's interested in exploring ideas from the humanist, non-religious perspective.
For me, secular humanism is a philosophy for living and learning. Secular humanists use science and reason to understand the universe and solve human problems.
As a non-religious person, I cannot accept supernatural answers to life's questions. Secular humanists confine their search for the truth to the natural world.
Some of my highest goals in life are expressed in human secularism. To enjoy life in the here and now, and to strive for moral excellence.
We believe in striving for the best and noblest that is possible in human beings.
These viewpoints reflect our philosophy, which applies to all aspects of our lives. Each of our programs will try to apply reason to various interesting topics and show how this approach differs from the dogma of non-humanist thinking. Welcome again to you folks who watch our show and those of you who may be new watchers. I'm Harry Greenberger. I'm the host of The Humanist Perspective in New Orleans. And this morning we have a topic that should be of interest to all of you. Joining me today are two members of our organization. Harvy Stern, who was here for the first time on our panel, and Lanny Goldfinch, who is a regular here with us, and many of you around the city know Lanny. Our guest today is Dr. Mahmoud Sarmini, who is representing the Muslim Academy as well as other activities regarding Islam. And I want to say up front to you, Dr. Sarmini, that I know very little about Islam. I know nothing about the academy, the Muslim Academy. And so if you would just maybe get us started, and then we're going to get into some discussion about the perceptions and misperceptions of Islam in this country.
Let me first introduce myself. My name is Dr. Mahmoud Sarmini. I'm an assistant professor of rehab medicine at LSU, and I also hold the titles of Secretary of Muslim Academy and of West Bank Muslim Association, among other titles. It's really a pleasure for me to be here. I'm not sure where to start first. About the Muslim Academy, at least, because this is one of the headlines, one of the reasons for us to have been here. It's a private school established on the West Bank of New Orleans in Gretna in 2000. It's a private, religious. It's been there since 2000. It's been steadily growing with very good enrollment. Right now we have about a couple hundred students. It teaches the regular curriculum of Louisiana, the regular science and math, the other dreadful subjects of the students, but also it takes some voice in the schedule. It substitutes, for example, the second language for Arabic language. And it's Arabic language, if you know a little bit about Islam, it is not essential to be a good Muslim, but it gives you a better perspective, because then you can go directly to the text, to the original texts, and that's one really uniqueness of Islam. The original revelation of Islam, the Holy Quran, is there in its original form, unchanged for over 14 centuries. So knowledge of Arabic makes you better adept at going to the texts, the Quran, and the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad, and reading it. So
in addition to the normal courses that students would get in the other schools in the city, you are teaching them from the Quran, the religion itself.
Yeah.
That's part of the curriculum.
Yeah. They learn Arabic and they learn Islamic studies, including Quran and Islamic morals.
I hate to begin the program this way, but if you watch some of the TV news talk programs, they suggest that these Islamic schools in this country are breeding terrorists. How do you respond to that?
Well, they are terrorizing us, but they are not terrorists in the technical sense of the word. No, I mean, it's an open school. Anybody is invited to come, check our curriculum, sit through our classrooms. It's really a very big misconception, and it's been perpetuated by people for whom, unfortunately, there is a sector of the society for whom any gain for Islam or Muslims is a loss. And anytime they see Muslims advancing in building mosques, and establishing schools, and getting some social rights, they get so around and they start spreading rumors and false news about Islam. Most of the schools, and I've been to many schools in the United States, are really decent schools who teach the civil lessons, who teach good citizenship, along with teaching religion and with teaching the Holy Quran.
At the university, what are you teaching there? What are your students?
I'm an assistant professor of rehab medicine. It's a clinical assistant professor, so I'm mostly clinical.
You're not teaching anything in the religion department at the university?
No, I'm not. No, but I have given several lectures about Islam to medical professionals, and they really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay, and I understand that you're a multifaceted person.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
A lot of people, we had some speakers at one time that were at the church that I occasionally go to that were Sunni Muslims. And they were talking about the Shiites as if they weren't Muslims, that they were Shiite. They're not Muslims. Is that a common position, or is that just a misunderstanding by some people?
It's not very common. Most good Muslim scholars that I know would never call a Shiite Muslim a non-Muslim. There are some differences, but their differences mostly stemmed from a political difference that happened 1,400 years ago, about mostly who's most worthy of leading the Muslim as a nation. The Sunni Muslim in general think that it is anybody who's qualified, who fulfills certain rules and knowledge and piety and so on. The Shiite Muslims have strong emphasis on the lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, specifically coming from his cousin who was married to the daughter of the Prophet Fatima. That people coming from this lineage are the most adept people at leading the Muslim nation politically but also religiously. And from this major difference, I would say minor difference 14 centuries ago, many other differences have happened. But no decent Muslim scholar I know of would call the Shiites in general non-Muslims.
That's what we see on television a lot, is the clash between these two political, the more political clashes than they are really religious clashes than you're saying.
Yeah, well, it's based on political, and the political clashes really magnify and take advantage of the religious differences.
So it's kind of like what went on in Christianity, say, 500 years ago when the Catholics and the Protestants were out there killing each other. And it was more political than it was
something of that sort, really.
Okay.
Well, just to get very basic, is my understanding correct that the God of Islam is presumably the same as the God of Judeo-Christian believers? You have the same God.
We belong to the same set of Abrahamic faith.
But you have some difference with the Christians in that you do not see Jesus as the Son of God. Because I'm getting very basic because I really don't understand all of this. But is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, as you all know, all three religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, belong to the monotheistic religions, believing in one omnipotent God. Islam deviates from Christianity where it says that there is a triune God. It is one God, but it's a triune God with a begotten Son that went down to earth to take upon himself the sin of humanity and die for the sin of humanity. These concepts are not in Islam.
In other words, Islam may be closer to the Hebrew religion, which also says Jesus was not the Son of God, the Messiah.
In that sense,
so,
with a significant difference that Islam does not reject Jesus, and God forbid. Jesus is one of the mightiest messengers of God in Islam. You cannot be a Muslim without believing in Jesus as one of the mightiest prophets of God, as being born miraculously without any male intervention, to Mary, who was in Islam one of the most righteous ladies that ever lived in history. In fact, there is a chapter in the Quran named after Mary, chapter of Maryam.
You accept the Immaculate Conception, the virgin birth of Jesus?
My understanding is the Immaculate Conception pertains to Mary, but the virgin birth,
You accept that?
Virgin birth. Not an expert on Christianity.
It looks like it,
What do I know? Listen, you do
birth.
understand that our organization in this program is about secular humanism.
I understand.
Secular being, we're not religious, but it does not mean that we are anti-religious. You understand?
I understand.
We do not set out to take anyone's faith away from them. We just offer the opportunity for people who think the way we do to join with us, and there are more of us around than anyone really realizes. I personally, for people I've known for years, am surprised when I find out that they are, in agreement with me and my position.